Okay, we're off and running. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
My name is Jerry Hafer. I represent AMAC and the AMAC Foundation. I'd like to spend just a few minutes and talk about who AMAC is and who the AMAC Foundation is for those that may not be familiar with us. AMAC is the Association of Mature American Citizens. We're a nonpartisan conservative organization. It's a membership benefits organization. Basically oriented towards conservative age 50 plus Americans. And we have roughly 2.4 million members and continuing to grow rapidly these days. And I would encourage you to visit the AMAC website. It's AMAC.us to get a feel for the overall organization and the benefits of membership and that kind of thing. I'm not going to talk too much about AMAC. I'm going to focus most on the foundation. Another portion of the AMAC organization is the AMAC Action organization, which is a separate subsidiary that basically operates to represent members in Washington. It's basically a lobbying organization. It maintains contact with congressional offices across the country, making sure that issues that are important to AMAC members are conveyed to congressional offices. That's the AMAC organization, the AMAC Action organization, feet in the street sort of thing. Basically, it's what connects members with congressional offices. And then finally, AMAC Foundation, which is the organization I represent directly. The AMAC Foundation is AMAC's nonprofit public benefit corporation. We exist to basically to help protect and ensure the financial security, health, and social lives of current and future mature Americans. We shorten that mission statement to just say supporting and educating America's seniors. That's what we do. But the second part of that mission statement is really the essence of most of what we do, helping Americans navigate the bewildering array of decisions they need to make. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But, that's the foundation mission, AMAC Foundation. We are a 501c3 public benefit nonprofit corporation. So in terms of what the foundation does, we basically operate 5 program categories, I guess would be the right way to say it. We conduct public seminars on topics that are important to seniors. Of course, the seminar today is an example of that, but we do seminars on topics like Social Security, understanding Medicare, understanding elder fraud, basically anything that's important to seniors. We typically do 2 to 3 seminars each month, although in the past year and a half or so with the pandemic situation, we've curtailed that a little bit. But we're starting to get active again. And going forward into 2020, 2022, we will be doing 2 or 3 every month on average. So those seminars are done usually locally here in the Central Florida area, Lady Lake area. But we also do a lot of virtual presentations like we're doing today. And when we do those, we also, if it's a major seminar, we tend to live stream those across the country. So while we are based in Central Florida, we are in effect a national organization. And so we try to reach out to our constituents that way. The public seminars is one area we focus on. We do a lot of publications in the foundation. We produced a couple of books. One was basically Who's Who in Social Security, a roadmap to everyone involved with Social Security. We published a major publication about a year and a half ago called What's So Hard About Social Security, basically a textbook to help people understand Social Security and their options. And on our foundation website, amacfoundation.org, every Monday morning we issue a blog type article on something important to seniors. For example, the one this week had to do with coping with workplace stress, which on the surface doesn't sound like something that would be relevant to seniors, but the aging workforce has a lot of seniors remaining in the workforce way beyond their retirement years. And so stress does become an issue for seniors. So That's just an example. We publish an article like that every Monday morning on a variety of topics. And again, they're on the foundation site on the news page. We also operate two major websites that are dedicated, they're topical websites dedicated to the areas of Social Security and Medicare, Social Security and Retirement, and Medicare and Healthcare. Those websites are updated 5 days a week, and they provide breaking news on those subject areas. And they also have a fair amount of archival information. As an example, on the Social Security report site, the annual reports of the Social Security trustees are housed there in the archive section. So a lot of background information about Social Security and retirement issues. And those are very, very active websites and information packed. So I would encourage you, if you have an interest in those topical areas, to take a look at those. Fourth area that we operate in the foundation is veterans support. The foundation is leading the AMAC Veterans Outreach Program, I guess I would call it. The formal name is Veterans Support 2021 Initiative. And basically, we provide a lot of information for veterans, in support of veterans. We interact with veteran service organizations to basically cross-disseminate information about programs that they're doing. And we a major portion of that, by the way, is a database that we operate and is housed on the foundation website of hundreds and hundreds of programs that are applicable to veterans, but not very well known. So it's a searchable database. People can go in and look for example, programs that deal with post-traumatic stress syndrome, suicide prevention, those kinds of things. Massive database that is fully searchable and categorized, and it's basically oriented toward helping veterans find information that is applicable to them, but they may have trouble finding. So that's a major portion of what we do. And then finally, this is really our flagship program at the foundation. We operate an accredited Social Security advisory program. Basically, what we found out early on in the formation stages of the foundation, way back 7 or so years ago, people had a great difficulty getting credible information on the options available to them as they aging into Social Security. There's no real handy place to go where they can get their questions answered, and they can have their individual situation discussed in terms of how Social Security applies to them. So we created our advisory program, actually back in 2016 was our first year, and that was kind of a startup year. But it has been growing rapidly since then. We presently have 6 accredited advisors, trained and accredited. They're nationally accredited. And we have 1 in training right now, so soon we'll have 7. We handle on average 500 to 600 inquiries every month. And inquiry can be a counseling session on, what benefits are available, how you qualify for them, how you access them, that kind of thing. So we handle between 500 and 600 of those a month. And we just recently passed the 20,000th mark, where we handled our 20,000th inquiry. And that was kind of a milestone for us. And we're well on the way to 30,000 at this point, at the rate we're going. So it's a very, very active part of what we do. It is our flagship program. So if you know of anybody that is interested in Social Security and has questions, just have them contact us. The instructions are on the website of how to access the advisory program. Now, one thing I should mention about everything that we do at the foundation is done free of charge. We are a nonprofit, and we do not charge for anything that we do. And that's astounding to a lot of people, because on the Social Security area, for example, if necessary, we'll spend an entire day with somebody making sure they understand their Social Security options, and there's no charge for that. So that's just a quick overview of what the AMAC Foundation does. And again, our growing family is the AMAC.US organization, which is the membership organization, and AMAC Action, which is the coordination between members and congressional offices, I suppose is the best way to say that, and the foundation organization. So that's a quick whirlwind picture of who AMAC is. And for those of you that are not familiar with VITAS, Jessica and Gloria will probably talk more about this, but AMAC is the nation's largest single source provider of end-of-life care. We have been working with VITAS for several years now. We have a tremendous partnership with them on providing these kinds of programs to our constituency, and it's been a very beneficial relationship that we have, and we really appreciate it. VITAS is a large organization with a 40-plus year record of community service. With 10,000, more than 10,000 health. I have to excuse my voice, by the way. I'm recovering from a severe cold, my annual seasonal change cold, and I just can't get rid of this cough. But VITAS has more than 10,000 healthcare professionals and a large roster, more than 4,500 trained volunteers that help carry out their services. And they operate in 14 states and the District of Columbia. So VITAS is a large, well-established and great organization that we have been blessed to partner with them, and we really appreciate it. Today's topic is titled Coping with Loss During the Holidays. And we selected this topic. We don't normally do many seminars in the month of December because of everybody's hectic schedule and all that, but I have been doing a lot of research in this area, and I think it's a known fact that holidays, despite the gaiety that comes with the major Christmas season, does create a lot of stress for people, and does actually create depression for a lot of people. And so we felt it was a reasonable thing to do to talk about this issue, and we went to VITAS and talked to them about it, and they suggested that we contact Jessica McClure. Jessica is with us today, and Jessica is the bereavement manager for VITAS Healthcare in this area. And we are really pleased to have her with us today. And I look forward to hearing more about this topic so that we can counsel people that contact us as well. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jessica. Also, we have with us Gloria Puerto, who is, I'm not sure what her actual title is.
Community educator, Jerry.
Okay. Actually do it all. She kind of does it all for us, and she's our primary contact with VITAS, and we just appreciate working with her. So with that, I'm going to stop my screen share and turn it over to Gloria. I'll ask Gloria to self-introduce and talk a little bit about her background and her, her resume, so to speak. So
Jessica, go for it.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jessica. I work with VITAS Healthcare. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen really quick so we can at least have the presentation started. Jerry, you might actually have to give me permission to share.
Okay.
While he's doing that, so I've worked with VITAS Healthcare for about 7 years now. I was actually one of the first social workers that came out when we started working in Lake and Sumter County. Hospice is a very big passion of mine in helping individuals during this tough time in their life, as well as helping now the patients and their families work through their grief journey. It's something that I have a true passion about in helping. And sometimes people just need someone to talk to, and that's where we can come in and help. And what we're going to be talking today is kind of some of those things that we might see during the holidays. It can bring on a lot of different emotions as we work through the holiday season. If it's especially your first holiday season without a loved one, it can bring on a lot of different emotions. There we go.
Okay, now you should be able to share.
Yes, I'm working on that right now. Okay, does everyone see my presentation here?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So as I said, we're here to talk about how we're going to cope through loss during the holidays, because it can bring on a lot of different emotions and how it can be hard to deal with and what we need to do to kind of work through that. And we're going to kind of skip over these things here. So with the holidays, there's a lot of different holiday seasons. It's not just necessarily Christmas for some individuals. We might have Hanukkah, Thanksgiving, Kwanzaa, Mother's Day. There's a lot of holidays throughout the year, and each of those holidays kind of bring on different emotions. Since we're kind of around Christmas, Hanukkah, and Kwanzaa, we're going to focus a little bit more on kind of those. There's a lot of societal expectations when we come up with holidays, that you're going to be with your family. It's going to be a good, happy, go lucky time, not room for sadness, right? It's a gathering of family, your friends. There might be some religious rituals or standards or traditions that you might be doing. And if you don't have that person that you normally shared with, you're like, well, what do we do now? That tradition is now gone. But it's not. You can carry on that tradition and carry that person still with you. There's many different rituals that you can do to kind of allow yourself to still enjoy those holidays. As we've seen, as I mentioned, it's kind of really rooted in those family and religion aspects. And we want to maintain some kind of level of consistency over those times and those special memories, and how can we incorporate those into the holidays? As I mentioned, those holidays bring up the memory that our loved one is no longer here. And that can cause us to have an enormous amount of sadness. But those holidays, yes, they might be changed forever, but we can come up with new traditions, and how can we move forward into those. But we will reminisce, and we can remember and honor our loved ones during this holiday season. So some of those typical grief reactions that we're going to have is those new memories might not include our loved one. We might struggle to remain connected to our loved one. We might think that we're forgetting them or we're moving on from them. And what I've always told individuals as we work through our grief process, instead of moving on in the sense of forgetting, we want to move forward with, how can we carry them with us during this holiday season? Maybe during the holiday season, you used to make a nice cake. Every Christmas, you would make a nice cake with your loved one. Continue to do that. Try and remember them when you're putting those ingredients all together. Some of those things that we might be scared to kind of show when we're around individuals is, right, we're going to see a lack of energy. We're going to have some sadness, loneliness, feelings of guilt that we might be wanting to do some of those holiday traditions still, right? We might withdraw ourselves a little bit socially. And our appetite might change. We might not be wanting to go and connect and do those festivities that we normally did. Our minds, we always like to say that there's a grief brain that we have during a certain time, where our brain seems almost numb and not connecting to what we're doing on a day-to-day basis. That's okay. It's a very okay feeling. Be patient with yourself. Allow yourself to have these moments. Allow yourself to be tearful and have those sad moments. It's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and read. The important thing to know is that grief doesn't just go away because of the holidays. Grieving the loss of a loved one typically changes the meaning or significance of the holiday, and also what activities and rituals the mourner may do during the holiday. I always let people know that grief is kind of like a big boulder. Right after an initial loss, it's really heavy on us. We're carrying it, it's weighing us down. But as we kind of move through this grief journey, it starts to break down and become smaller, and it almost turns into a nice little fanny pack that we can carry. It doesn't go away, but it's easier to carry. It's not this massive boulder on our back anymore. And so I always let people know that, yes, it doesn't end, but it does become more manageable. So how can we kind of cope through this time? Recognize that it's going to be difficult. Have that acknowledgement that we're going through a time that's going to be bringing up a lot of different types of emotions. We don't want to cancel or kind of avoid that the holiday season is coming. as we know, when we avoid things and we push it to the side, it has a way of creeping back up and saying hello again. So, and sometimes even stronger force. So we want to just kind of make sure that we're aware that yes, this is coming. It's going to be tough. Make sure you have a good support system around you, whether that's friends, families, pets. Make sure you have some of that really strong support system around you. Always know your limits. I've had individuals talk to me and they were unsure about where to go. If I go to this get together, what if I want to leave? Say, that's okay. Just let the host know if you're going somewhere else and just say, you know, this is my first holiday season. I do want to come, so I'm going to try and come. And if it starts to become too emotional, just go and say, this was a great time. I'm just going to go have a moment to myself, and allow yourself to have that me time and where you grieve and show those emotions that you need to. And sometimes the hardest thing that we struggle with is allow feelings of joy. Don't feel guilty about being happy in the moment of with your families or friends during this holiday season. You always want to take care of yourself. Self-care is so, so important. Just because we are, especially if we were a caregiver to our loved one before they died, that self-care can seem, oh, well, I have to take care of myself now. This is a new thing for me. But self-care is very, very important. Another thing you can do is create a new tradition. Let's say you're scared to pull down those ornaments or those trees that you have in the attic from previous years. That's okay. Bring down new decorations. Go out, maybe buy a new little tree, or start a new tradition for yourself in honoring your loved one or for yourself. Always kind of plan ahead of what you would like the holiday season to look at the best way you can. But there's no wrong way, there's no right way to celebrate the holidays or to grieve. And that is something I always stress. Everyone handles things differently. Your grief journey and how your holiday season is very unique to yourself. If you're getting together with family, maybe talk with them and say, hey, what do we want to do? What's everyone's wishes? Especially if maybe a family lost a grandparent or lost a sibling, and say, hey, how can we handle this? What do we want to do? Do we want to honor them? How do we want to handle the holiday season? You want to give yourself, change is very scary, and we have to allow that and give permission for us to move through that. And then decide if we want to include the memory of our loved ones into our holiday activities and how we can do that. When you're going through these tough times, you have to listen to yourself. And so that really goes down to, if it feels good, then allow yourself to have that right moment and be present in that time. If it doesn't feel right and you're feeling uneasy, then go ahead and step away and go take a moment to yourself. That's okay. Don't feel that you have to show up somewhere just because you're worried that someone's going to be upset with you. You have to put yourself first. It's okay to put yourself first. And just be honest with them. Most individuals and everyone will be understanding if you just communicate honestly of how you're feeling. And then find your true meaning, right, of what the holiday means to you, and then choose to celebrate it that way. Try and blend what's going to be the new with the old of traditions. Once we find these traditions and these rituals that we might have, either spiritual or family, hold solace into them. Get a sense of hope and kind of work through that. And be patient with yourself. It's very bumpy when we go through this grief journey. And you have to be patient with yourself to understand that sometimes you might take a step forward and feel like you're taking 10 steps back. That's okay. Each step forward is still, and you're working through your journey and going through your process. Let's say if there was a male who was usually the person who carved the turkey, say, hey, this can be a little bit different this year. Maybe use a decorative quilt that uses different images of the loved one. There's a lot of blankets nowadays that you can make where you can put the pictures of maybe previous holidays you shared with that person. And you could have that as maybe a way of honoring them. I've had individuals who got together as a family and they still left an empty seat and put the picture of their loved one on that seat. So that way it was as if they were still participating in the Christmas dinner or the holiday festivities. And always, you can always light a candle in honor of them and think about them when you're doing that candle ritual, and think of all the fun and great memories you had as you light that candle. Other things that you can do to honor them is you can go to the cemetery or the memorial site. Sometimes I've always told people if there was a bench that they used to go to at a beach or in a nice park, and that's where you guys maybe talked a lot, maybe do that and go and bring them and tell them how the holiday's been. Talk to them. That's okay. How can we bring our loved one into this current holiday ritual? Maybe play some of their favorite songs or play a favorite game or enjoy one of their favorite meals, right? I had a family once tell me that they were going to have a specific meal because they couldn't have it before because a certain smell bothered their loved one. And so they chuckled and laughed as they were having this meal that they know their loved one would be very uncomfortable with. And it's okay to laugh at those moments and enjoy those times. But as I said, you're not always going to hurt like this. It's not always going to be so heavy. And you will keep continually to move forward through your grief journey, and there's no set time or anything like that. And that is the end of my presentation. So I'll go ahead and stop share in case anyone has any questions or anything.
Okay, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask them. The chat window is open.
Jerry, if by chance anyone needs someone to talk to, please have them reach out to you, and they can always get in contact with me. I understand the holiday season can be tough, and sometimes we need someone to talk to, and I'm always available. So we can gladly set up a time if someone needs to talk at another time.
Okay, I appreciate that. We have recorded this session, and after we edit it, it will be on our website, on the amacfoundation.org website, on the videos page. It'll probably be sometime midweek next week till it's actually installed up there. But in the meantime, if anybody does have any questions afterwards, feel free to contact Jessica through the VITAS organization, and I'm sure she'd be happy to chat with you. Yeah, I know one thing that I've sensed through the years. I retired from a major company up in Pennsylvania, and I had been there for many, many years, about 30 years. And through that time, I had established mentoring kind of relationships with a lot of younger people. I was always amazed at how some younger people, even middle-aged people, would be depressed at Christmas. And so I would talk with them at length, and quite often what came up was a lot of younger families, people raising families, were depressed because of economic conditions, that they felt they were being inadequate, not being able to, provide a massive Christmas kind of thing for their children, and that would really, really bother them. And it was always surprising, but also a little bit disheartening to hear those kinds of things. It was a problem of kids succumbing to peer pressure kind of thing. Like a 16-year-old kid that wants a car for Christmas and you just can't afford to buy them a car. And so it would be more depressing for the parent than the kid that didn't get the car. It was more depressing for the parent that couldn't provide the car. And so that's not a loss situation, but it is a depression situation that I've experienced through the years. I've seen affect people. So any advice for people that encounter those kind of situations?
So the big thing is understanding yourself, and that's the societal norm, right? Is that we have these lavish Christmases or gift giving and things like that. The big thing is to focus on, try and find what's important to you in this holiday season, and maybe try and find a different focus that's not a material thing, and make a new tradition with that family member. And the big thing is always just talking to someone about those feelings. Because the more that we keep them bottled up, the more that it weighs us down and we can't enjoy the time that we're trying. So always talking with somebody, or even journaling. Journaling is always a big help.
Yeah. Yeah, as I said, the depression was more in the order of the parent felt that they were unable to provide more so than the child. And just talking through the issue always seemed to help people. So good advice. Okay, well, with that, I thank you very much for your time, Jessica. It's been a pleasure to work with you, and Gloria as well. Good to talk with you again. And watch for the video. As I said, it'll be up probably midweek next week. And we will share it with our constituents. And that'll be it. So with that, then I'm going to end the webinar. And again, Jessica, thank you very much, and Gloria as well.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Jessica. Great presentation.
Okay, take care, everybody.
Happy holidays. Bye-bye.